Just keep your Stan
of
Smith style
weeks
shot as well.
anyway, innit?
I know, how are you? That's a bit formal, isn't it? Bit formal.
Where'd you come from?
Good stuff.
Good chat.
You've got an injury.
Yeah. Do you know what, John boy? Football. Played a charity game. You know what it's like? I do 20 minutes.
Who was it for? Give him a
Turn
plug.
it into 70 minutes.
Who was it for?
Select Car Leasing.
Oh.
Boys that look after us. Been with them 4 years.
They are the best car leasing company
They are cracking
out there.
If you're looking to sponsor a show, you're welcome. Come to us. We need some help. But look, you know Select Car. The two
legend.
boys there looked after me, and I turned up at Reading.
Yeah.
Select Car Leasing ground, and should we say Select Car Leasing again? I was going to play 20 minutes. You know what it's like. Guests be quiet, but you can join in. I was going to play 20 minutes.
I've been told not to say anything.
It's Big Bird out of Sesame Street. Come on away from Finchley.
Save it for the pod.
We've gone. He's funny bastard.
Go
So I played 20 minutes in my head.
Where were you playing?
Centre mid.
Bossing it.
Yeah, I was on fire.
Yeah.
Set up one, scored one, set up four. Sure. 5 a pop, 70-minute mark. Done my calf, you know. But story don't.
Was it just was it just running off?
I didn't do nothing. It's just fatigued. You know, where I hadn't done anything. Thinking I was running around like David Ginolu back in the A day. I thought I was the bollocks. But then it was just now I see videos and how slow I actually am.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's embarrassing. But loved it. It's in you, innit? You can't if you love the game, it's just in you. But then I've got a gig, Middlesbrough the next day. So me and my mate have got to drive up to Middlesbrough at 8:30 at night. Didn't see none of the game, Tottenham game. Didn't see none of that on radio. Driving up to the game, driving up to Middlesbrough for a golf game the next day. So I've had to didn't get up there till 1:30. Get my sticks out. I'm doing a golf gig with my mate, just playing golf. And I couldn't play because of my leg. So I'm driving around in a buggy, fucking about. So I went up to Middlesbrough. Played 18 holes with my mate, couldn't play. Calf was in bits, but it ain't too bad today.
No.
Come back last night, but it's all right. It's all right. I don't think it's bad because I come off. I felt it, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So I put it down to all you sport physios out there. It's a grade 1.
A grade 1.
I can grade myself. I've had that many injuries. Yeah. I'm grade myself now. It's a grade 1. Okay. Grade 2's middle of the road. It can be anywhere. Grade 3's you've
all right. So yes, welcome back to all the you like this, all you Bullard Easters. What I'm calling them. Like, you know, we always go, this is where you fans.
Lose me. I don't even know what.
But you go the fans or the listeners or the viewers, you know, because we're on YouTube as well. So what are they? I'm calling them the Bullard Easters.
Okay.
You know, it's like you're your hardcore. It's like you're.
Is that a hardcore fan?
Yeah.
The Bullard Easters, yeah.
Bullard Easters,
right,
yeah.
Okay.
All the Bullard Easters out there.
Right,
but welcome. We are back, and we're just going to take it up
back
a notch.
Back and rearing to go,
Taking it up a notch, and I'm loving that shirt.
Yeah, a little JL number. Looked after me. It's a golf shirt.
I know, but it's giving me Croatia 1996,
yeah.
So we're thinking about new kits, because we are going to be making new kits.
We need an away kit, don't we?
Well, and maybe a new home kit, you know, when it comes round. Well, let's see.
All right, loads to talk about. We've been away for 2 weeks, but we're back.
We're back.
Yes, John boy, we're back.
Right, let's get our guest on. He's been sitting there very patiently.
Yeah.
He's
excited because big weekend for him.
Massive weekend for him, which we're going to have to navigate our way through, because something's happening this weekend that will have already happened by the time this podcast is out.
That'd be good.
It's all right, but I've thought through it.
Oh, good.
He is one of the finest actors of this or any generation. He's been in some absolutely amazing stuff. He's currently in some brilliant stuff, and there's some stuff he's going to be in very shortly with some very big hitters. We know him from Soccer M days.
Yeah,
he's an absolute gentleman. He is
Daniel Mays.
Yes.
Can I talk now?
Yeah, you can talk now.
Let me off the leash.
Yeah.
How are you, Dan?
Well, I'm surprised I'm here because I'm also carrying an injury.
Oh, what?
No, the old hamstring.
Oh, really?
I was going to say.
It's a grade 3. No.
Bad,
all good.
Right off.
Where's you coming from today then?
What mode of transport did you use?
So let's just explain how this works, and then we get into all the rest of it. So FC Bullard's been up and running now for, I don't know why I'm shouting, FC Bullard's been up and running now for about a year, and we're slowly building our club up. with infrastructure, and we've got a manager, and we're signing some players, and we've got sports psychologists, and we're going to ultimately play some football matches. All right, now
that's the end game.
That's the end game.
Yep.
Now, you're here today because you are being interviewed for a role at FC Bullard. Now, the slight caveat with this role is we're not really sure which role you are suitable for.
Okay.
So what we thought we'd do is, look, you're an actor, you've played many roles throughout your career so far. We thought we would just have a chat, see how it goes, and then chat about maybe working out a role that suits you.
Okay.
If you want.
If you want.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You might just decide to walk away, And,
that's my prerogative. If I want to
absolutely
exit stage left, that'll be it.
Yeah.
So,
but I've got high hopes.
Okay,
love it.
So
Yeah.
the first role I'm going to get you to try out for, well, not try out for, is I'm going to play to your skills. So I'm going to get you to do a little bit of acting, because what we're going to do now is, Leyton Orient play. Who are they playing? They're playing Charlton Athletic. Excuse me. Sorry, Glenn. In the playoff final this weekend. Today's Friday. The game is Sunday, all right?
1 o'clock kickoff Sunday,
right. Okay. So
at a little place called Wembley.
Yeah.
Not really heard of it,
He's counting down every hour, by the way.
Yeah. So obviously, this is going out after that. So what we'll do is we're going to just do a couple of little interviews, a little bit of role plays. All right. So we're going to do both scenarios. Okay. So let's start with the. You start with yours, Jim. So you're going to interview Danny. Just ask him the question about how he feels following the result, and you can decide what that result was.
What, am I going to make out the result?
Yeah, as in they won or lost.
Be kind, Jimmy.
Dan?
Yes.
How'd you feel with that unbelievable victory?
Oh, well, Jimmy, I haven't slept. I've been on it since the final whistle. But I can't believe it. I mean, I've never seen scenes like it.
But that 89th, that winner, 2-1 when he scored in the 89th minute. What did you think? What did you do?
It was just bedlam. I mean, grown men crying. I wept. I openly wept. I was hugging my kids. I've never seen celebrations like it in my life. I mean, to have Orient in the championship is dreamland, isn't it? And I'm so proud of the team. Richie Welling's done an amazing job, and I'm still hungover.
What happened after? Where did you go?
Where did you go? We piled back because we got a coach. We got a coach from the Cricketers pub in South Woodford to get there.
And you and your boys, yeah.
Yeah, there was about 50 of us on the coach.
I see some of the players come back with you.
We kidnapped a couple of players.
What happened?
Yeah, Jamie Donnelly. We kidnapped him. Keeley, the goalie, as well. I mean, obviously he wanted to celebrate with his own family, but we weren't having that. No, you're coming back on the coach to Woodford. So we kidnapped a couple of players.
And then the local press went down your local, and Richie Wellens was in your local. Great lad.
Yeah. I rendezvoused with Richie. He put it in the sat nav, and he turned up and had a couple of jars of us. What a manager! What a man!
I hope that ends up. That will be.
You went full method there. That was brilliant.
Yeah, it was good.
So unfortunately, that might stay in the edit, or the alternative is.
If that actually happened, that would be fucking
2-1 and that 89th minute. Danny, thanks for coming on off the back of that agonising extra time defeat. How are you feeling?
Oh, it's difficult really to put into words, Fenners, to be honest. It's
gone in here.
I'm beyond distraught, if you could be like that. It's a devastating loss. I don't quite know. The fact that we went down to 8 players is to say that they lost their heads is a bit of an understatement. But it did kick off about 3 or 4 times, didn't it? But to end with 8 players on the team, it was only a matter of time, wasn't it? We were always going to lose after that.
But when you run on the pitch, I thought you'd hang out.
I just thought sod it. I thought sod it. I've always wanted to be a streaker. So I thought, okay, go on, why not?
Yeah.
We were 7-0 down, so I thought, we
might as well.
Yeah, so I've only just been released by the police.
It looked warmer on the telly as well. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. How are you, mate? How is life in general?
Good. Yes, it's all good. We're rocking and rolling. You know, got lots of things coming out on the telly and stuff, and projects in the pipeline. So yeah, it's good.
Okay. And you can tell us.
The big one that's coming out in August is the Thursday Murder Club movie, which is a big.
Yeah.
Richard Osman has done a series of books, and it's I kept going through like airports and seeing everyone reading this book. You see it like the bestseller and all this sort of stuff, and I was like, and I'd never read it, and now lo and behold, I've read it now because I'm in the movie, and the great thing is there's like 5 books in the series, so hopefully we'll get to do more. Right. But I was
some big hitters in it as well, aren't there?
Unbelievable.
Who's in it?
The name call is Helen Mirren, Piers Brosnan, Sir Ben Kingsley, Celia Imrie, David Tennant. Wow. Unbelievable cast. And the guy that was directing it was Chris Columbus, who's done Home Alone and the first 2 Harry Potter movies.
Right, okay.
So it was just, we filmed it last summer. Had a great time on it. Lo and behold, I'm playing a policeman. There's not a better qualified actor in the country to play a policeman, but mate.
And we're talking about nerves just off camera. Do you get nervous when you're around big hitters like that? How does that work with you?
I did have the first scene was a big group scene with me and Naomi Ackie and all those other actors I've just named. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie, day one, it's always nerve-wracking on day one, but when you're sitting there and I was like, this is just mad. Right? Helen Mirren, the Queen.
Yeah.
James Bond. Gandhi.
Yeah.
Naomi Ackie.
Do you see him like that?
She's played Whitney Houston, and I was just like, he's directed Harry Potter. I'm like, what's my line? Where am I? Yeah. No, but it was, you want to, it's like when you play with good players, isn't it? And it sort of raises your game, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
so all that sort of imposter syndrome that is there, you just have to sort of kick that into touch and go, right, you've got to deliver it.
Yeah.
But it was great. I mean, I think quite a few actors went in for the role.
Yeah.
I was on another job filming in Belgium, this thing called Bookish, which is written by Mark Gatiss. And we filmed it in Belgium. I literally just sort of got into the hotel. My agent phoned me, and she'd said, like, ages back, you've got to play the copper in Thursday Murder Club. I've read the books. Have you read the books? She said, you're absolutely perfect for the role. And she said, read the books. So when I actually got to the bit of the description of the character, he's middle-aged, gone to seed, sort of divorced, down on his luck, comfort-eating policeman. I phoned my agent. I went, hold on a minute, you said I was perfect for this role. What's going on here? Brilliant. Anyway, I got to Belgium, and she phoned me and she says, look, you've got to get yourself on tape. Self-tape. And I was like, oh, God, I've literally just got here. And she was like, here's the script. This is the 3 scenes you've got to self-tape for. And I grabbed this lovely young actor, Connor, who was on the show. And I said, listen, we've hardly met, but I really need you to do me a favour. Come into my hotel room. He was like, what? No. Connor Finch. I went, no, I need you to read him with me. And he was like, yeah, no. He was such a lovely, brilliant actor, Connor. Lovely kid. And we just sort of put the camera up and we sort of self-tape 3 scenes, and I ended up getting it. Wow, so I said, you're my good luck charm, Connor. You've got to self-tape with me all the time. So it was great, yeah. So it was just mental, because I was, this is a weird caveat to this story, I got the mosquitoes in Belgium, in Namur, where we were filming, were unbelievable. I got bitten with these mosquitoes, and one of these things got infected on my arm. It was starting to go a bit red, and I said, look, I think I should go to the get this checked out. Anyway, they ended up sending me to A&E, Belgium, right? So I was like, because it was all really nastily infected. And I'm sitting there, and I walked into this Belgium A&E, and there was not a soul there. I thought, this is a walk in the park. I'm going to be in and out. And they were like, they took my details, and they went, go through to this room. It was absolutely packed. There was a crying kid, and I was like, I was there for about 3 hours waiting just to be seen for this infected mosquito bite. I said, this is a nightmare. This is terrible. Anyway, my phone went. And it was my agent, and she went, how are you, darling? I said, not too well, I'm in A&E. She went, oh, God, what's happened? I went, no, it's just a mosquito bite. I'll get through it, it's fine. Oh, woe is me. Yeah. And she went, well, I've got some good news for you. I went, what's that? She said, you got the Thursday Murder Club. It was just surreal,
You're like, in hospital, take your time, people, I'm all right.
I picked the screaming kid up, threw him in the air. No, it was just a surreal moment to get it, because it's such a big job.
Yeah.
Just the surroundings where I got that news was just mad. I was like, jumping for joy.
Like you say, if there's going to be a It's going to be
Yeah,
5.
fingers crossed. Yeah. So there's potential to do more.
The policemen don't get bumped off in the
No, not that I'm aware of. No. I've always got bumped off in loads of things, though, haven't I?
Oh.
Shot, stabbed, poisoned, blown up.
Done it
A
all.
lot.
Done it all.
Done it all, mate. Yeah. I'm interested in how you learn lines, how anyone learns lines, because I really struggle with reading script and things like that. I'm all right with auto cue, but like remembering lines, it's just a nightmare. Bill Nighy, I saw an interview that he'd done talking about how he did it, and he said, I go in, no phone, anything like that, and he says, I read the first chunk of this dialogue, and he says, and I do it 15 times, and then the second day, he said I stop at 4 o'clock, and then he said the second day I go and I read that 16 times, and like this, and it really kind of methodical, and it was like, wow, that's kind of. You know, that's a lot of work and a way of doing it. Have you got like are you good at it? Does it come quickly, easily? What's your method?
I know where Bill's coming from with that. It's just the case of repetition. And it's a thing of like, what's incredible about learning lines is I don't think they come necessarily easily to me, but you have got to sit down and put the work in and put the study in. And it is about robotically going over and over it. And it always fascinates me, that thing where you've done like a day of line learning, and then like it's there in your short-term memory, and then you have a few days later you've had a couple of sleeps, and it just suddenly just drifts onto your long-term memory, and it's there.
Right.
But he's absolutely right. You've got to learn, say, the first 5 pages. Next day, go back to page 1, go over what you've learned, and then just carry on and further. But if you're on, the thing is about line, like when I've done lots of plays, you always get someone afterwards going, the inevitable question, how on earth do you remember all those lines? But the thing is, it's there in your long-term memory. But say when you're on stage, it's where the other part of your brain's going, well, you're over the right-hand side of the stage when you say that line. When you say that line, you pick that prop up. You get the cue from that other actor. There's a lighting change, which, do you know what I mean?
But does that help you in a way? Because you know that when you're over there doing that thing, then you go,
you're in a space.
I'm doing that bit there, and you can sort of see it almost.
So I'll give you a story. I did the musical Guys and Dolls at the Bridge Theatre, not far away from where we're shooting now. And there was a moment, it was towards the end of the run. Actually, my wife Lou and my daughter Dixie were in the audience this night when it happened. I did nearly 300 performances of Nathan Detroit in Guys and Dolls. It was such a hit.
Yeah.
We just it was the biggest hit I've ever been in, you know what I mean? You just sort of ride the wave with it. Yeah, we were talking about like when you play in front of an audience, I mean, that was like a drug. It was, you couldn't sort of put it down. But there's this one particular night when Lou and Dixie were in and the lights went wrong. And they started to, I'd been on stage for about 10 minutes, so it was a lot of exposition. I was coming out with a lot of sort of dialogue, and the lights went wrong, and they kept trying to reset themselves, right? And it was like being in a disco. It was just all of a sudden.
Did it just mess with you?
It was like it was tripping. Like that side of the audience was sort of flashing like in a strobe.
Yeah.
Then the spotlight had gone over there, and the 2 other actors, Mark and Cedric, were like, oh, I've got to move over there to try and find that light. And I got completely lost.
Right.
Did you really? Just for lights?
I didn't know what to do next. And because my brain was going, this has all gone wrong.
Yeah.
Now, and the thing was, they hadn't stopped the show.
Right.
They should have really come out and said, ladies and gentlemen, it's obviously gone wrong and we're going to reset. But they left me out there for quite a long time. And in the end, I didn't know what I was doing, what the line was, where I was meant to be. It was like, Jim, I cannot tell you, you don't want the ground to swallow you up.
Oh, that's
and in the end, I just said, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
You did.
I did. I said, I've got no idea what to do next.
Did you say it in character?
I dropped me New York and I was like, oh, help me out. And then they eventually said, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop the show. But I was just like,
gone.
I don't know, it was because you know, my daughter and wife were in the audience. It really affected me when I came off because they did leave me out there.
You have to dry a little bit.
I was like, thanks for that. Lovely.
He's a pro. He's a pro. He'll be all right. He'll get through it. Yeah.
But I think the thing was, there was other instances in Guys and Dolls because I'd done it for so long that your brain was like, occasionally you knew it so well and you'd said it so many times, your brain was like, I can't do this anymore.
No.
Right.
So there was quite a few times where I'd drop a line or I just didn't know.
Right, okay, got
you.
you.
Sort of thing, but you know, you can skip past it. But when it obviously goes as wrong as that with the lights, it was like being in a nightclub.
Surely as well, just to pick up on that as well, you're reading your line. I would think, isn't it? You're reading your line. Is it not as important you know the whole story as well?
Yeah. You know
Do you get what I mean?
You know, you'd have to. You have to learn your cue lines as well. That's the other thing, because you know,
because it ain't just about your bits, is it?
No,
Otherwise, you're so separated from what's actually going on.
Yeah,
but you've worked with directors who, when you turn up to rehearsals, you don't even know what the backstory of the other characters might be. Am I right?
You're talking about Mike Leigh.
Yeah.
I did 2 early films. The first big 2 films I did was films with Mike Leigh. It was called All or Nothing, and the other one was really successful, was Vera Drake. But his way of doing things is pure improvisation. Like,
right, okay.
We had 6 months of improvisation on Vera Drake. Yeah. So you start building the character from scratch.
Did you like that?
You only know what your character knows. You've got no idea what the other people are going to do. Really.
I'm totally opposite to what I just asked you. Then you're just in it on your Jackson, ain't you?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Is that
so you only know what your character knows. So it's for instance, Vera Drake is all about a backstreet of bullshit that Imelda Staunton played. Amazing performance. She won loads of awards for it. But I was her son in it, but we didn't know that she was me, Phil Davis, who was my dad, Alex Kelly, who played my sister. We didn't know because it was a secret. We didn't know she was doing that on the side. We just thought she was our loving mum that used to go and do cleaning.
But you actually, as the actor, didn't know that.
No, so there was a massive improvisation where my sister gets married to Eddie Marsan's character, and we'd been in character for, I'd probably say about 4 hours, like. It was the engagement party. We'd cooked. We'd all got dressed, and you only come out of character until he tells you to come out, or one of his assistants. So we've been improvising for like 4 hours in this disused hospital in Crouch End, and then all of a sudden we were there and we're eating food and we're around the dinner table, and all of a sudden there's this knock on the door, and we were like, so Phil Davis goes and answers it, and the police pile in the room and says, "Does Vera Drake live here?" And we were like, what's going on? Unbeknownst to us, there was another wing to this disused hospital, which was a mock police station. She was taken away. She was interrogated all day, all night. And we had no idea. And then eventually Phil Davis came back, sat us down and said, she's been helping young girls out. She's a backstreet abortionist. I mean, it was just like being hypnotised. It was mad.
Wow.
So when you have this initial improvisation, which affects you so deeply because you've been preparing the character, working on the character for about 6 months. And then when you come to actually do the scenes in the film, you've got all that emotional recall to draw upon. Right. So that's why, like, all of these films, the characters in the films are so vividly drawn.
And they're so real, aren't they?
They're so real.
That's what he's trying to keep the realness in the shot.
When I got told that, I had a physical reaction. It was like my stomach fell away. It was bizarre.
Incredible way of so many. That's the thing about film and TV. So many different ways of doing things, and
but his way is completely and utterly unique to him. I mean, it's very rare, if ever, that you'd get, say, 6 months to prepare for a character in a film. You just wouldn't have it because they haven't got the budget for that. But you try. I was so blessed to have worked with Mike very early on because it was like an education. It was like, playing for the best manager. It was like playing for Alex Ferguson or whoever, you know what I mean? It was like incredible.
Amazing. Right.
I can't believe I just compared Mike Leigh to Alex Ferguson. He'll love that.
Well, yeah. Will he love that? Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Let's just get back to your potential role at the club, all right? So we're not sure about that at the moment. I'm the director of football. Jimmy is the president. So let's kind of start with your kind of your playing CV. Do you want to kind of talk us through that?
I played for Leyton Boys in Essex. I was captain of Leyton Boys, so I played, as a schoolboy. My 2 older brothers were fantastic footballers. I think they had trials for the districts and all that sort of stuff. My younger brother was really good as well. I was just never as good as them, really. So I think that's why I fell into acting, because I wanted to do something different. but the position I had was sweeper.
Yeah.
Which you don't really get that position anymore. Because what I was good at, I was good at reading the game. I could always find a great pass. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had no pace. Right. Okay. So they put me at the back.
You give yourself a load of room at the back.
Yeah. But I think because he thought, I don't know if I remember we had 2 central defenders in front of me, or if it was just one person. I suspect it was 2.
When I used to play, I'd play sweeper. Where you have, you call like crash.
Oh, did I? There's 3 sweepers.
You'd have crash.
There's a pattern emerging here.
And sweeper, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
so
you'd have one guy and
someone who's going
to
someone who's going to attack the ball and then shithouse like me would just like just drop off.
Yeah,
and
of course.
You pick up, but you get it off the keeper.
But you have to read it, don't you?
Yeah. And it's.
Don't exist no more.
Do you know what?
Why does it not exist anymore then? Just the game's changed.
A lot of it's gone man for man, hasn't it? Yeah. You know, that sweep, you almost playing like a...
Keepers are doing it, aren't they?
Keepers are sweepers
Keepers
now,
are doing it.
Yeah.
Keeper sweeper.
Keeper sweeper. Yeah, it is weird. I played there as well. But it's great because all the ball's in front of you. It's an easy position. Because you can keep it all in front of you. But you're right, it doesn't really exist.
I loved it because you get all the time on the ball. But I would play really well for 80 minutes and then you ask anyone who played with me, he'd give a goal away. I'm trying to cry fit, because I've got a bit of time on the ball. And then
get too big for your boots.
Well, just got too like comfortable, and then they'd score and
What age was that then, Leyton? After school.
It was after school. It was like under 10s, 11s, 12s.
Right, okay. When you was a kid.
And then I think I just got interested in girls and it all stopped.
So as a teenager, like 17, 18, you didn't play, really?
Not really.
Right, okay.
Then I was more into me sort of musical theatre and acting.
Yeah. Right, okay.
I sort of just lost interest with it.
Yeah. And so did you go and...
My head was turned.
Your head was turned, yeah.
Happens to a lot, mate, doesn't it?
And did you go and what? Did you go and watch Leyton Orient a lot?
Oh yeah, I mean we're all Orient fans, bar Johnny, my older brother above me, who's West Ham.
Right.
But it was that was my dad's team, still is his team, and we were. I just got amazing memories of Leyton Orient. Like Frank Clark was the manager, and the first time I went over Orient, I must have been so small because when they scored a goal, I just burst out crying.
Did you really? Because you just
too much. Yeah. Sensory overload.
Yeah.
I was only about 3 months.
Oh, come on, rocking. That's blimey.
That is a vivid memory of just being in that sort of roar of a crowd, not knowing what was going on.
Any other big memories, Dan? Moments what Orient's won for over the years?
There's so many.
Because I know you're a massive fan.
Because I did a bit of filming just before, obviously, the playoff final, and they asked me to write this piece for them. And it was about thinking of those moments. I mean, the best goal I ever saw over Orient was in the FA Cup. I think it was the 3rd round, and we were drawn against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And it was obviously a complete sellout. And my younger brother managed to get tickets. There was about 8 of us in our group. And we were right next to the Arsenal fans. Right, there was like some tarpaulin that they'd put up to separate
just to protect,
us. And I remember we ended up before the game, we went into some weird dinner. These were the things with the tickets. And Lofty from EastEnders was doing some sort of... I was like, what's all this about?
Big Arsenal fan.
He was doing a meet and greet with Lofty.
He's a big Arsenal fan.
He's a big Arsenal fan, yeah. So once we'd got over that...
Lofty.
I can't remember the actor's name now.
Tom what?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Fantastic. Anyway, we ended up in the ground and they went up. They went 1-0 up. Rosicki scored after about 10 minutes, very early. And the thing was, the Arsenal fans had clocked me.
Right.
That's him off the telly.
Yeah.
And from that point on, for the whole game, I was just getting it.
Pepper.
Did they? Oh my God.
Brilliant.
You're never be, you're just a shit Danny Dyer. You're just a shit Danny Dyer. Shit Danny Dyer. So I'm 1-0 down. I'm like, oh man, this is horrible. They are caning me all game, and they were like, my brother's like, don't listen to it, Dan, don't listen to it. So I had to endure that until the 85th minute. Jonathan Tahure scored for Orient.
go off.
Unbelievable equaliser. It went through the goalie's, he smashed it through the goalie's legs, and we went mental. It was absolutely
really?
Big Terry's long blonde hair, his ponytail came out, his hair was all over the place. We ended up like 4 rows in front of us. It was just that was an amazing goal. But there's been, amazing goals over there that we celebrated. Matty Lockwood at Hull City to take us to Cardiff. Recently, Jamie Donnelly's goal against Man City in the FA Cup, in off the bar on the keeper. That was just they played so well that game. Oh my God!
Yeah.
They had to bring on Foden and De Bruyne to sort of get them over the line.
They changed the game.
So we had them rattled. They changed the game.
Had them rattled, all right.
But I love it over the Orient because it's I don't go over there all the time, but I don't know, it just sort of brings you down to earth a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's always so lovely, and they want a selfie.
Look after you there as well, I suppose.
It's always been a nice sort of family club. I
don't know if you know this. Sorry, I had a trial at Orient.
Did you?
Back in the day, Johnny Steele.
Right.
Steely was manager. Yeah, because my dad went to school with Steely, and then phoned him and goes, look. I was 18, I was playing for Gravesend and Northfleet, and my dad thought I could do a bit, so he phoned me. He goes, bring him in for a trial. Yeah. And I always remember it. Is it Martin Ling?
Martin Ling, yeah.
Lingy was captain.
Yes.
And I'm only 18. I don't know my back from a front. I'm out there. And I always remember he come over and absolutely left all sorts on me. Honestly,
verbal?
Just like, no, it's in the game.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Just an old pro, just knew what was going on. I'm like trying to shield it. He just runs straight over me. And I just remember Lingy going, get up, you fanny. I'm like, I don't need this. It was one of them. All right. But I learned, hang on, I've got a tough. It was straight into really kids football to men's football, but at Orient as well. It's amazing to be around. I had 2 weeks out there, didn't sign me. And then 20 years later, Steely phones me up. I go, do you remember? He goes, yeah, I remember. But it's amazing. It's quality to be part of. Do you know what I mean? My learning curve, and on the West Ham.
Well, when Orient got relegated out of the league, I think it was Martin Ling had sort of took them over. And
he done well for you, didn't he?
He did, quality. And then eventually it was, Justin Edinburgh, and then we got promoted, and then he sadly passed away, which was just tragic.
Yeah.
That is just, what would, be amazing for Orient, if they do win on the weekend, there's been highs, but they've had some really low lows. You know what I mean? It's been, they've had a real journey. Every club does. Yeah. Every supporter says that about their club, but
that was so sad, and
it was.
It made a real dent in a lot of people involved with football. Not just
Charlie, his boy, still does a lot now.
Yeah.
Around the Heart Foundation, I think it is with that. So
amazing.
Mate.
So how'd you get here then?
Do you get asked to play in any of the Soccer Aid charity games or anything like that? Have you done any of those?
I do get. I haven't actually played in any. I tell you, one of the occasions I was asked, it was at Orient, weirdly, and they asked me to play in it, and I was just about to open in a play at the National Theatre.
Right.
Playing a football manager. It was a Patrick Marber play called The Red Lion.
Oh, right.
It was a three-hander. It was me, Calvin Denber and Peter White. It's a fantastic play.
I think you maybe came on Soccer M
I think I might have to talk about it. And the charity game came in like 2 weeks before we opened, and because I was in rehearsal, and I was just like, typical actor went, no, so if I break my leg, but the director Ian Rickson went, I really don't want you to play in it in case you do get injured, you know what I mean? Because it's like, so in the end I became, it was weird, like they said, would you become like the manager for the day and just sort of show your face and do all that sort of stuff. Okay. So I was sort of manager on the touchline as well as playing a manager in the play.
Okay.
But that was great. I loved playing that character in that play because it was all based on Patrick Marber he lived in Lewes and he became like a director of non-league Lewes, the football team down there. So it was all heavily based on his experience of the inner workings of a non-league football club. And I played this sort of wheeler-dealer manager called Jimmy Kidd. It was a brilliant character. Yeah. It was one of those, people say like, is there ever a character you'd like to go back and play again? For some reason it's that character, because I just love playing it.
Brilliant.
It's great fun.
Yeah. Whenever I think of Leyton Orient, I often come back to the clip that I watch on a regular basis, which is the John Sitton, Sitton clip.
Too. And I got it in a loop in my house.
Yeah,
so good.
And it's for anyone who hasn't seen it, just go onto YouTube and Google John Sitton.
It's one of my favourites ever.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking that is if anyone did a dramatisation of John Sitton's, he's a. I mean, you've met John Sitton. I'd love to get him.
I've met him a few times.
I'd love to.
On my own
you had him on the Sponge,
the
didn't you?
Sponge
I'd love to get him on here. So if anyone knows how we can get hold of John Sitton,
he's Black Taxi driver.
Yeah.
Yes.
So because I think I'd love to get him on because I know that he's a very smart individual and he's got really good, interesting views about football. But
you've knowledgeable about the game.
Unbelievable, yeah.
And have you met him?
I've met him a number of times. Yeah,
what a man
he came in because we met each other over Twitter, and then when I was doing the Red Line, the play, he came in and spoke to us for an afternoon.
Oh, really?
He came in and helped out with the rehearsals. Yeah, and he came to see the play and met all the actors and the director and everything. So I mean, I remember John as a brilliant centre back for Leyton Orient. He's a fantastic.
He played for Chelsea.
I think he was Chelsea. Was it Millwall as well? And that was his route. But it was just a rock solid, brilliant defender. And then he takes over, and people forget it wasn't just John Sitton as manager. Then it was Chris Turner.
Yeah,
it was both of them.
Duo,
So I always feel like when everyone just thinks John was the manager, but it wasn't. It was both of them, and it's such a tragic story because that documentary ended his sort of career in football, didn't it? Really, I don't know if he could ever come back from that.
He said that it sort of put him out there, and he didn't really, that's just one side of him. When you lose your nut, and everyone knows onto that. But
you see that all the time now. Now like Netflix will be paying millions of pounds for that now. You saw Vincent Kompany at Burnley when he lost it one of the players. Like on the training pitch.
That's more aggressive than that.
What was interesting for me about?
But did he bring his dinner?
Well, do you know the story? Do you know the story behind that?
No, I don't know. You're going to enlighten me here, John.
So
this is good.
If you watch that, and I've watched it, and I'm not saying I've studied it, but I've watched it, and he's very measured in what he's saying. Although he's absolutely,
he's going in.
He's kind of like, he's at it, but he's very measured. And what he said was, when he said, and you can pair up and bring your dinner, because you need it after I've finished with you.
Yeah. And because the fight's going to go on so long.
Well, that's it. Yeah, but what he said, what I've read in an interview afterwards, he took that from the film Colours with Robert Duvall and Sean Penn. And there's a scene in that film where Sean Penn's like. He goes off the rails a bit, and Robert Duvall goes in and he gets him in this room and he basically says, has a go at him and says, "You know where I live? Come see me at any time and bring you." But he says, "Bring your lunch." He says, "Bring your lunch."
He's mixed it up.
And apparently and then what?
What about that for a bit of improvisation?
What John did, but John said he said it was lost on the players because obviously they hadn't seen the film, whatever. But that's why it almost made it better for me because it was like it wasn't just off the cuff. He thought it through and he'd lodged it. And he'd gone like any given Sunday with it, So
that the film was just rolling around in his subconscious.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Jesus.
That, isn't it? I thought he made. I didn't find that till today.
Wow,
good producing.
Hey,
good job we didn't watch an episode of Happy Days or something like
that. And you can bring your dinner because you're going to need it. Hey.
Put that lever on. Put his lever on.
Good job he weren't watching the Night Garden. You can bring Tinky Winky if you want.
And it's Somley Booms.
You fucking
dear Lord.
Brilliant. But
I love you.
He didn't he also in that moment sack Terry Howard as well at half time? And I think Terry Howard was one of Orient's longest standing players.
And he actually went through with that, I think.
Yeah. Come and see me in the morning.
Yeah.
Because that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. He needs to be a screenwriter because it's sort of Shakespearean what he was coming out with.
This is what I mean. It
was
was
the phrases he was coming out with at next level.
No,
any screenwriter will go, I'm going to have that.
No, because it wasn't like Warner. You say Warner where he comes in and he goes, yo, get it back. You made me sick. You made me feel sick.
look at you, makes me feel sick.
I mean,
have you seen that one?
Neil Warnock is another absolute legend, isn't he?
Brilliant, mate. Honestly, but I'll be honest. No word of a lie. Johnny Sitton, he was probably the best guest I had. Yeah.
Right,
honestly, I've done about 30 of them with Rob Beckett. He was mustard, and he totally come across a different person.
Yeah,
honestly, and I love these stories, and that's what The Sponge was all about. But there was a side of him, clever, like intelligent, real good football man. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? But it's class. I love meeting him. Yeah, great lad as well. You could have a pint, and he's got it. Do you get what I mean?
And I would love to get him on and talk about football. I'd love to talk about that, but I'd love to.
Let's get him on. I know we've talked about him there. He's funny, and I'm going to write his little notes down.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. Class act.
You've done me with the Fonz.
Really good.
Hey, Johnny, your director is your equivalent to your manager, right? Yeah. On set, or wherever. Who's your favourite that you've kind of like, let's say, played under? You see what I've done there, Jim? I've like made it like football and acting. Who's your favourite that you've played? Have you got one that that's made you a better player?
Oh, I mean, I've done a lot of work, so I've worked with a lot of them. Who stands out? I'm going to name check all the directors.
That's fine. No,
I mean, I remember doing the movie Atonement years ago.
Oh, what
back
film?
In 2007, I think it was, and the director of that was Joe Wright, and he was just kind of next level, really, because he was a fairly young man when he directed that, but he was so. There's a shot in Atonement which is the Steadicam shot when they arrive on the beach in Dunkirk. Ridiculous. I remember reading that in the script. It was like 3 pages of exposition, like stage direction, like what they see. And he said, we're going to shoot it in one shot. It's going to be one Steadicam shot. And we were like, what, really? So the whole thing was rehearsed into an inch of its life. And then there was over 1,000 extras on the beach. We shot it in Redcar Beach up there, and it doubled as Dunkirk. Wow. But what I remember about Joe was like there was loads of stuff going on. There's people hanging off Ferris wheels and people running into the sea, and it was me, Nonzo, James McAvoy was obviously the lead in it. But I do remember Joe Wright in that moment. He had this sort of white flat cap on. He looked like one of those old school Hollywood directors, and he was just. In the middle of all of that mayhem, he was just calm as you like. Just.
You remember that?
I just thought, look at him. I just thought, God, he's just in his element. Look at him go. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
So he sort of stands out because the thing about that film was like, what the great thing that Joe did, he made you feel really important. We were essentially like a small cog in the wheel in terms of the characters we were playing, but he made you feel really important in the overall. Impacts of what the film was as a whole.
It's a
great movie, yeah. But I've been blessed to work with loads of people, I mean, I've worked with biggest name drop of all is Spielberg.
Go on then.
Is Tintin. I worked with Spielberg with motion capture stuff when we did Tintin. And
what was he like?
He was just, again, just someone that was a kind of a strange experience because it was motion capture, which I'd never done before. So it was all in one studio and you wore these funny... It was wetsuits and you have 200 dots on your face.
Oh, right.
You have a camera on an arm there, and then you just had to ROM yourself into the computer it was just like, I didn't know what was going on really. It was a bit like doing a big theatre piece, but it was fairly new in sort of technology in terms of motion capture. But Andy Serkis was Captain Haddock. And so Andy had obviously done all of the Lord of the Rings, so he's like the king of that world, like he knows it inside out. So Andy was a really great port of call in how to do it all. But because it was Spielberg, you'd get these like A-list actors coming down to visit the set. Yeah. So I was like a double act with Mackenzie Crook. He was the other. We were like we were the baddies, and Daniel Craig was like the Red Rackham character. But I always remember, like, there was, like, one day Clint Eastwood come down, like literally mental stuff, like we're standing there, and the thing was, what was disconcerting about it was what we were wearing, because I always thought it was just like the most unflattering costume you could ever wear in your life.
What, tight leotards and
Oh
all
my
that?
God, it's like an overgrown sperm or something.
Yeah.
It just looked ridiculous.
Mr. Eastwood.
Yeah, and like Mackenzie's like, and then Tom Cruise came down one day, and you're like, oh my God, there's someone. And Mackenzie's like, let's go and say hello. And I'm like, not like this. I can't go, hey man, how you doing? So that was just insane, yeah.
And so Steven Spielberg, is he kind of like?
He was. What was so impressive about him was that he would just find stuff in the moment, like he would just like a musician. He'd just sort of riff. I mean, hey, do you know what would be really good if you use him as a human shield in that point, and just like a kid just coming up with these brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
But the whole motion capture thing was mad, because you do it and you finish your filming and then you leave, and then it's like they animate over the top of the performance. But so when you watch it back, it doesn't look anything like you, but the physicality is you, the voice is you.
Worked with some monsters, Dan, ain't you?
Wow.
Worked with some big hitters in your game, haven't you?
But the great thing is, Amberlin, Spielberg's company, are producing Thursday Murder Club. So he came to visit the set one day, but I wasn't filming that day.
Oh, mate.
So I didn't get to see him. Yeah. Hopefully I'll see him, if we have a premiere or something like that. But it'd be great to meet him again.
Just got to mention your pal Stephen Graham, who's we were chatting about it off camera.
Yeah.
Because you've known him for a while and you work with him very closely. He's a friend, isn't he? And
he's a dear friend. Yeah. We go way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Stephen is the guy that introduced me to my wife, to Lou.
Really?
We were doing a show called Top Buzzer. The first time I ever met Steve was the world's first dope opera, and it was written by Ed Allen and Johnny Vaughan.
Right.
And it was for MTV. So it was Stephen Graham and James Lance were a couple of sort of dope dealers, and I was Colton, the really annoying neighbour that used to come round the ponce all the time.
Brilliant.
But it's the first time I met Steve, and Lou, my now wife, was the chief makeup designer.
Is that right?
And I fancied Lou, and she fancied me, and we couldn't ask each other out because we were both scared. And Lou went, what? And Stephen was like,
he see the chemistry.
Yeah.
Right, done the Cilla Black.
you like her. Yeah. He was our Cilla Black.
Yeah.
So, it was all down to
Amazing.
Stevie. So we've done that, and then we obviously did 3 series of Code 404.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Another comedy, and then Hannah and Stephen have got their own production company now, and they've done this big show for Disney, 1,000 Blows.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So they asked me to come in and play Punch, the ringmaster in the boxing, which was fantastic. So I've seen. I feel like I've seen a lot of him of late, and he's a mate. I would put Steve up there as the greatest actor I've worked with. Seriously,
Really, yeah.
I really do
Good.
believe that, because he
He
has
is top
such
drawer,
range. He has such versatility. He's brilliant.
It's
He's
good to
such
see him
talent.
as well. Getting, not that he would like wants that, but that the post kind of like affection for him from after adolescence is brilliant, and it's so well deserved. And
I mean, I phoned him after that show and just said it's probably one of the best things I've ever seen. I was so emotionally moved by it. I thought the acting was like on another level, but the whole notion of the one shot thing as well, brilliantly directed by Philip Barantini. Every component of that, and what the message behind that show is about, kids on phones, and what it all means now, and it really struck a chord.
Yeah,
I actually remember him talking about when we were doing 1,000 Blows. He said, "I've got this show coming up, and Brad Pitt's the producer on it." And he loosely told me what the premise was, but I said it sounds fantastic, and that became Adolescence.
Because I think what you got with that is you've got Steve, you've got an amazing cast, you've got this amazing premise of how you're going to do it, and you're pulling it off, and the subject matter, but it's the way it's tapped into. It's hit that kind of sweet spot, or the sour spot really of what is happening in this country at the moment, and everyone is
very real,
and it is just like normal families that are affected by it, you know. So I had someone saying, "Oh, well, it shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't have been around that sort of family because they were like a kind of like a happy family." But that's exactly the point, isn't it? It's like this stuff's going on, and you can't, you can't tell where, you know, people, you know, what people are doing, you know, behind closed doors.
The episode with Erin Doherty and the young boy Owen Cooper was just absolutely next. I mean, all of I thought Ashley Waters was incredible in it. But that young boy, I was at the BAFTAs recently, and I got because my daughter Dixie said over reels for him. She's besotted by him, and I managed to get her. She said, if you go to the BAFTAs and he's there, and because we saw that he was going to be a presenter for the day, and I said, "You've got to get a video. You've got to get a video."
Well, I did a caution.
And I was like, "Oh, that's so unprofessional. I can't do that." Anyway, I bumped into him backstage, and he was so sweet, this kid. And I said, could you just do this video? And I said it to my daughter, and she was like, "My life is now complete."
Ah, lovely.
So he was a lovely kid, very humble. I met his dad; he was very nice. So, you know, it's great. You know, if you could do like drama, which has got a social conscience, you know, and talks about what it's like to be in the world, that's the name of the game. That's the sweet spot.
Do you feel though that do you ever step back and go, God, I'm a part of this really incredible, not a scene, but you're working with all these incredible people. You're doing really important and stuff. You know, you just done Suspect. You know about that. You know that really tragic incident, and you know you're really part of this incredible British scene at the moment. You know,
they're the stories you want to. I think that's come through just staying in the game, John. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sort of I've been doing it when I graduated drama school year 2000, and. Listen, the world never stopped when I walked into an audition room. You know what I mean? I'm not Robert Pattinson. Some actors that just happens overnight. They go stratospheric. You know, they're like movie stars straight away. Yeah. In a way, that's kind of tough because you don't want to be a flash in the pan, you know. But for me, I always think of myself. It's been a long, steady, enjoyable, slow burn. But it's all of those relationships with actors like Steve or directors, producers. You sort of build up a network of people, like in any line of business. And I've been lucky.
In you, didn't they?
Yeah, they want to come back. I'm just going to do another thing with Jeff Pope. You know, I did Mrs. Biggs with him years ago. He did Suspect as well.
Right.
And Jeff's just an amazing writer and phenomenal sort of filmmaker. So they're the sort of people you want in your orbit. And, you know, hopefully they think highly of you and... You know, you're a reliable, safe pair of hands.
How long have you been in the
game? I'm like David Seaman of the acting world.
How long have you been in the game now, Dan? When was your first?
Been in the game, man.
25 years now, when I graduated. I mean, I went to stage school before that, but it just you sort of forget, really. You know, it's like, you know, the teams you play for, the games you played in, they're a distant memory. But you just think there's still more to come and different roles to play.
And would you... I mean, excuse my ignorance. Have you done any like directing or anything like that? Would that be an area or producing that you?
I am definitely. I'm working on a story at the moment, which is in development with a great producer friend of mine, Mike Eagle Hodgson, who I did White Lines with, which was a show that was a show on Netflix, not the other stuff. Yeah.
That was brilliant. That was so good.
That was, I got very friendly with Mike on that, and he's a really close friend of mine now. So, and we're developing something at the moment which is loosely based around the magazine The Big Issue.
Okay.
Because I'm a brand ambassador for The Big Issue.
Are you really?
Yeah, and I've been affiliated to them for a while now. And I want to breathe life into each... It's like an anthology thing.
That'd be good.
Yeah, like individual stories and see where that takes us. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good thing about actor as well, it's never ending, is it? Like football careers done in 20...
But that's very true, Jimmy. That was very...
keep going.
That was... From a very young age, that's what I...
One of your things, hang on a minute.
Because I mean,
cut short because of age.
I used to do musical theatre when I was a kid and like wanted to be a dancer and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, but it was the same sort of shelf life as a footballer. I mean, when I was very young, I wanted to be a footballer like everyone, but you sort of know that you can only do that to a certain age.
Yeah.
But with acting, you can just, you can get better at it and you never know where it's going to end up.
First time we probably met, although I don't actually recall meeting you on the day, but as in having a conversation, was probably when you were on Soccer AM
Yeah.
Who were you on with that day? Can you remember?
The first time I was on Soccer AM was with. They phoned me up the day before because you normally have a famous footballer on as well.
Yeah.
And they said, you're never going to guess who you're on with tomorrow. And I said, who? And they said, it's an England legend. And I was like, right, who's that? And they said, no, go on, guess. And then I went through all these players and Teddy Sheringham and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, and they went, no, it's Paul Gascoigne.
Wow.
And I just couldn't believe my luck.
Wow.
Because, iconic hero.
Yeah.
I remember having a French crop, Gaza crop. Yeah. When he was, he used to play for Tottenham.
Yeah.
I never forget. I went all out with a French crop.
Send it in.
Yes,
seriously. And I got on the 201 bus to take me to West Hatch High School in Chigwell, right? And it was like first day back at term. And I got on the 201 bus to pay, and they all went, "Oh, what's he done with his hair?"
On ya.
They were just destroyed me.
Brilliant.
Because he was just amazing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And the thing was about that time on Soccer AM was I was on to promote a movie called Shifty, which was with Riz Ahmed, and it was the tagline was 24 hours in the day of a life of the 24 hours in the day of a crack cocaine dealer, which was Riz Ahmed's part. And Gaza was already on, and they introduced me, and I can remember thinking, they're going to ask me the premise of the movie, aren't they? That's going to be the first question. Of course it is. Maybe we should have kind of segued around that. Maybe we should have. Oh no! And please welcome his first time on Soccer AM, Danny May. He's had my Orient shirt on. I was kissing the badge, and in my head, I was like, I'm going back 20 years.
Oh wow!
Totally green to it. Sitting there, oh hi Paul, yeah. Tim Lovejoy, and then they went, so you're on here to talk about Shifty. What's all that about then? Well, it's 24 hours in the day of a crack cocaine dealer. And Paul Gascoigne just goes like this. Oh, no.
Brilliant. Did you look at him and go, sorry, guys?
Oh, brilliant.
It does what it says on the tin, And, but he was he was so gracious with his time that day, Gazza. And just remember, like, loads of people, the audience coming up and him signing shirts and everything.
Yeah.
Just brilliant.
Brilliant class act.
Yeah.
We had him on as well later on, didn't we?
Yeah, he had you on toast and me in the green room.
Yeah, he battered me. Yeah, I'd tell it.
There is no better England goal than the one against Scotland.
The Scotland one when he flicks
if you had to, what's the greatest ever England goal? That would probably be
up there, isn't it?
It's that or...
It's in the top three.
Yeah.
That or...
Well, Jeff Hurst, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Although,
the one where we won the World Cup, Danny.
Yeah.
It's all over it is now.
Yeah. Or David Platt. Well, Gaza,
the
volley.
That was quality.
That was a great goal.
I'd say, they're the top three, aren't they?
Yeah.
Trying to think of any others.
Beckham against Greece.
Oh, yeah, Beckham against Greece.
That's
from a long way out of that.
It gets longer and longer further out.
Do you know what? I went, very quickly on that. I was at St George's Park and was on the Astro inside, and they said, and they put the ball down and went, this is actually this is the distance exactly of where
is it ridiculous?
And it's like, I can't even kick it that far. And he's beaten an international keeper.
That reminds me, you've obviously played the Grove in Hertfordshire.
Yeah.
There's a plaque in the middle of the fairway. Tiger Woods.
There's two of them.
Yeah, so what is it? Is he eagle boat? What is it? He's birdie.
So the second and third day, he's at 5 wood, 273 yards, eagle putt, and then the following day, he's at something like 278. There's a plaque like 4 or 5 yards from each other, and he's eagled it again. From there, and you're looking up and you're going...
It's insane, isn't it?
Because it's always into the wind as well, isn't it? I remember watching that event, you're looking up going, has he hit that far? And has he hit that close? You just see the top of the pin out on a hill, like round the corner, and you're like, no. It's been good, isn't it?
We're coming toward the end of the the interview here, and now I think we need to start thinking about a role. Now, I'd be quite happy for you to come along and have, as director of football, have a trial, and we can maybe try you out as a sweeper. We can maybe.
So that sweeper position it's re-emerged, is it?
I think for FC Bullard we can make that a role.
I think we can.
At that.
Yeah,
and we can just
if we have to go through Whitey the gaffer because he's still the gaffer, but I'm pretty sure he would love him as sweeper.
I think you'll add presence at the back, and I think
I want to see him on the pitch.
I see
one day when we finally get our team together. Danny Mays, number 6.
Yeah, and also,
sweeping.
And at half time,
I didn't have a lot of pace back in the day, so
I don't have to sweep.
Exactly. Yeah,
you said you read the game,
right? Yeah.
It's in there. And then at half time, if they're not at it, you can come in and give them a bit of
exactly.
John Sitton.
John Sitton ran.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I've got 2 roles in the club. Eh?
And you big.
Make sure you bring your lunch.
Because after me, nah.
That is a blinder.
You tinky winky.
Imagine, well, listen, like, do you know what? Like, so they've come in, they've gone, yeah, right, we fancy it, and then they have a tear up, and it lasts for hours, and they go to each other. Oh, fucking hell, fuck! I brought some food. I'm absolutely starving. I'm absolutely starving after that.
Buying them lamb chops. Brilliant. Let's get him in.
You're on board, mate.
Yeah, love it, Dan.
I love it,
mate.
Class act, mate. Honestly, thanks for the story.
He's in the team.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Can't see him. One day.
Look at that.
One day, Dan, you'll be in one of them Daniel Mays. I'm telling you.
Look at that.
One day, it's going to happen.
Suits me.
Lovely. Of course it does.
Lovely,
Superb, mate. Welcome
Thanks for coming on, lad.
Welcome aboard.
Cheers, bud.
What's up, man?